2 on the agenda. This was a result of our boundary change from a meeting before. Our legal folks have given us advice that we should continue this until such time we know how to proceed. So if we have a motion to proceed or to continue this, it won't be a date certain. It will come.
Chairman, I'll make the motion we continue this item indefinitely until we have a determination.
Okay.
Second.
A motion by Mr. Farrell, second by Mr. Nelson. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, we'll vote. Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, item number 3, same issue here.
Make the motion to continue this one indefinitely.
Okay, second. Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Park. Any discussion? If not, we'll vote. Mr. Nelson?
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Item number 4, discussion and possible motion on amendment to Code Section 162146 regarding accessory residential dwelling units. Mr. Smith.
Okay, this will try your memories. We first started talking about this with Planning Commission, I believe, in August of last year, and took it to the council several times. It seems like you got into the holidays around December and budget and all that stuff, and New Year's, and so now it's back to you. So just to refresh your memories, the existing code allows for a detached guest dwelling unit of up to 1,000 square feet if you're on an acre lot or more. It allows for a caretaker dwelling up to 3,000 square feet and 4 bedrooms on lots of 5 acres or more. And it allows attached mother-in-law apartments for any residential unit. So we went to the Planning Commission and proposed some changes. The problems that we saw is that a lot of times the caretaker dwellings became just a second home on a piece of property, and there was really no need for a caretaker. We saw some up in Wasatch View where it was sagebrush and there was no real farming operation, and so essentially we were allowing people to double the density in any given zone. Mostly in RA5 and up. Also, the guest ADUs with the advent of home away and a lot of online rentals, we felt there was a problem with ever being able to enforce that as a guest unit, and the same with the caretaker units. We felt like a caretaker unit would be unenforceable. I mean, if we went in and had the caretaker unit vacated because it wasn't being used properly, what do you do to remedy that? You know, I can't imagine us tearing down the caretaker dwelling, but it just seemed like a big headache if it wasn't being used for the appropriate use. Also, some of the caretaker dwellings could be in very remote areas in the mountain and P160 areas of the county. We just felt like we didn't want a substantial home, 2 substantial homes on a property that were causing, 1080 ADT a piece and kids in schools and all those things if they weren't actually accomplishing the intent of the code. We also looked at some other ordinances that had caretakers limited to 800 square feet. So then we took it to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission came back and said that they wanted to get rid of the guest ADUs entirely, just take them completely out of the ordinance. The guest ADUs, again, were the 1,000 square feet that could be detached on an acre or more. They wanted to amend the caretaker dwellings to be on lots of 10 acres or larger, and they limited the caretaker dwelling to 1,500 square feet and 3 bedrooms, which is down from 3,000 square feet in the current code. They wanted to regulate the ADUs, essentially mother-in-law apartments, to single-family detached homes. And the reason this came up is we had an application come in for a condominium, an attached condominium up in Black Rock Ridge area for a mother-in-law apartment. And we've had so many problems with plowing snow up there where the densities are high and people are parking on the roads and they may have limited driveway space for off-street parking and those types of things. So the idea was to take them out of any type of attached product and only allow them in single-family detached homes for mother-in-law apartments. Limited the square footage to 1,000 square feet, and ADUs are required to get a conditional use. So caretakers would be coming back to the Planning Commission for a conditional use, and the ARUs, the mother-in-law apartments, would be staff approved. We would still consider them a conditional use. We would send notice out to the neighborhood. If there were no complaints, then we'd handle that administratively. So then we fast forward to the county council, where we had discussion November 15th and then continued. We talked about allowing transient lodges, which a transient lodge is a lodge on 10 plus acres where they can have family reunions or people coming and staying there and renting the lodge. We talked about having a caretaker dwelling of up to 3,000 square feet, including the basement, for those uses, or significant agriculture. Now, significant agriculture would probably needs to be defined, but it's 10 acres or more. We've talked about maybe having the requirement for it to be on a green belt or something like that. So that was discussed with the council. The caretaker dwelling associated with all other uses would be 1,500 square feet maximum. We talked also about the gentleman that was here that had property over by Midway in their annexation declaration, and him wanting to have a place for his friend to stay. The more I thought about that, it's something where they could go through a small-scale subdivision, carve off a lot, build a home on it for their friend or whatever they want to do, or annex into the city and probably have a higher density than in the county. So at least where I was heading was these first two bullet statements, where we do away with the guest ADUs, have some exceptions for what we felt were significant agriculture and caretaker dwellings, or not caretaker dwellings, the transient lodges. The thought there is where they're on 10 plus acres and typically in an RA1 zone where they could subdivide and have, you know, up to 8 or so lots, why penalize them for tying up that property and let them have a caretaker dwelling on there? So those were the thoughts. And I don't have an ordinance for you. I wanted to get some direction, then I'd go back and write the ordinance language and come back.
Well, transient lodges, give us some examples of what we have right now. You've got one at
2400, I'm sorry, 12 South up by the church camp entrance that's in operation. Mr. Horner's, who's here, and got approval. It's probably about 7,000 square feet.
The lodge, it's about
10,000 square feet. And the Nelson one, I believe, is about the same, Paul.
It's about the same. Quite a bit smaller.
And they haven't asked for a caretaker dwelling, but they've tied up, I believe, 13 acres with their transient lodge.
There's on RA1 as well.
Yes.
That's what I was wondering, if the thought I had, still had then, is if they're gonna take a piece of RA1 property and commit it all to one lodge, maybe we limit it to an ERU of their size and structure so they can stay there and not have to have a small house. Otherwise, they could subdivide and have 10.
Yeah.
It makes sense not to limit them if they're only gonna have the lodge and home. They should be able to have the home they want, if it's that size and it's RA1.
Right, and then in the new ordinance, then restrict that so it couldn't be subdivided farther than that, so.
So if they came in and wanted a transient lodge, we would do some type of deed restriction saying they can't further subdivide, something
Well,
like that?
yeah, I think, and then in this case with the one that the Horners talked about, or even the other one, if you've tied up that much ground in that zone, you're not, doesn't matter what you do. An ERU, what historically has been the definition of an ERU?
So would you limit the square footage on other things besides the transient lodge?
I think it depends on how much ground you do, how much ground you've got. If it's an RA1, you can subdivide it anyway, you're getting less density.
Is there a way to write that though, that it's not ambiguous?
That's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
Doug, this transient lodge requires a conditional use permit in the RA1 zone.
Yes.
Could we limit it to anything that had a conditional use permit that needed a caretaker?
I can't think off the top of my head what else that would be.
Doug, aren't all caretakers conditional use permits anyway?
Yeah.
But,
I see what you're saying, Steve, but it's almost like there's two conditional use permits. There's one for the transient lodge and one for the caretaker's dwelling.
yeah, but if we allow one caretaker dwelling for each conditional use approved. Have it just that one that one conditional use would cover both uses.
We could run them concurrently. Sometimes they don't know if they're going to want a caretaker.
But most of them would want somebody on site to take care of it.
Yeah, like Mr. Horner didn't have the caretaker with his application initially. The other thought is if there was a significant agricultural use that wanted a caretaker and had, 15, 20 acres in an RA1 zone and a house and wanted someone to live there to take care of the property and committed to do that, then is that something and that wouldn't be a condition, well, I guess the caretaker would be a condition.
Yeah,
I don't think we want to limit it to a square footage, including the basement at 1,800. If he chooses to move his family there, that's pretty small. Maybe he's the caretaker. And he's already, I don't know, I just hate to put a number on it because it seems arbitrary.
Okay.
Mr. Burton?
Chairman, so through the conditional use permit process, that's when you could put the condition on the ERU and any other conditions that I think Mr. Park was referring to related to density. It gives you an opportunity a little more on a case-by-case basis as opposed to a blanket ordinance.
I guess that's the way to put it. I think we'd handle them case by case. If we put, say, it may not fit somewhere else in the county.
I kind of struggle with just saying someone can have 10,000 and someone can only have 1,800. That seems arbitrary to me to tie to the conditional use.
Well, I didn't mean on site, Doug. I meant more based on density that could be allowed on the property otherwise.
Yeah, underlying zone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, not on the
I guess
side of the
that's
house,
fine.
just on the density.
Yeah, if you're in the P360, that's a lot different than being in RA1.
Could you word it such that you're allowed to have a caretaker dwelling, is it as long as the size of the property would allow you to have an extra ERU if you subdivide it?
Oh, there you go.
And then, as far as the size, the square footage, I don't know.
Any of these would allow additional ERUs because they're going to be 10 acres plus.
Yeah, up to one caretaker, though. You don't get to have 4 caretakers if you're on 20 acres, you get to, because this would get out of hand.
So in the future, if somebody came to us, we approved a lodge and a caretaker dwelling on 10 plus acres, say after 10 years, they wanted to just convert that to a house, and this is a home, so we pretty much restricted to where we couldn't do anything else here, correct?
That's what we discussed if you deed restricted, yeah.
What if you didn't have a conditional use anymore? Well, that's a good point. What if the underlying zone is 1 acre? You're saying you could come in and potentially have, if we didn't deed restrict it, you could potentially come in and subdivide the whole thing.
Yeah, so if you were doing a lodge, Paul, why wouldn't you just go in and maybe do a subdivision with 10 lots instead of having to build, a lodge over here that could be a house eventually someday, and a caretaker going over here?
Because your zoning wouldn't allow the rental of that unless it was associated with 10 acres on the
Right. So I'm just saying if there's another option to think about at this point, changing the ordinance to allow that process.
I guess, just from an overall perspective, the beauty of the transient lodge ordinance is that somebody can get a pretty viable use of their property, yet keep most of it open and not have to subdivide it into 10 homes, have an economic benefit, but still leave a lot of it open or in agriculture. I think this is kind of a somewhat clever way to preserve open space.
Let's come up to the mic.
I'm done now.
Yeah, sure.
No, I think that was the thought process when we talked last time, is that if someone's willing to commit this much property to staying open, when they could do a subdivision, small scale or large scale subdivision, it is a way to help preserve open space.
So tell me which way you want me to go. Do you want me to say that if they do get the conditional use for the caretaker, then we're deed restricting the property, or do you see that as not essential?
I think it's okay to deed restrict.
Okay.
And then you let them put a 3,000 square foot caretaker on it. But I think it also needs to be at least 10 acres or meet current zoning. Because I don't think you want somebody in the A20 that has a 10.5 acre lot to be able to put a caretaker on there also. Or the P160 or any of these others.
Do you think we need a square footage requirement?
You know, thinking about it, I don't think we do, because they could put 10 houses on there that are 4,000 square feet apiece. So why restrict it to a 3,000 square foot?
That was my comment. If you did an 1,800 square foot Rambler with a basement, you're at 30, you couldn't do that. And that's fairly modest anymore. I mean,
You're fine. I'll take back the square foot.
I like it
One
better
way
if
or
we
the other,
don't
really.
put a square. If the underlying zone would allow to have extra density, I don't think we put a square footage.
I think it is okay on our mother-in-law to
Yeah.
have the square footage of 1,000, because then I think that one would get abused.
Is that enough direction, Doug? Or
Are you guys okay with the mother-in-law apartments?
I think so.
And then on that mother-in-law thing, do you do a blood test to make sure she...
I was gonna tell you, we need a new staff member to be able to do that.
Well, between you and the sheriff, we need a good enforcement guy or gal. For the record, Mr. Good has joined us. Any other questions or comments or input for Doug on this one? I think,
So I'll bring it back to red line ordinance.
Okay.
okay,
You have everything you need.
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks, Mr. Smith. All right, we're down to unmanagers. We'll skip our board reports for a minute. Under manager report, we all got an email from Mr. Davis. He's needed to leave town on family business unexpectedly, so he won't be with us tonight. We've excused him, so we won't under that. We just got the affordable housing discussion. Does anyone have anything there? Or do you think we should wait until Mr. Davis is here?
I want to throw something out there on that. It's okay?
Yeah.
I talked to our county attorney a little bit on it and Doug as well. And, you know, just something to think about. We're really trying hard as a county to do this, but it doesn't seem like any of the towns or cities in the county are attempting to do anything with affordable housing. And so I think we really ought to look at this, not only on a county level, but on a city level as well, to get everybody working together to make it happen. Because how does the county provide affordable housing when our lots are 1 acre minimums, unless it's up in the Jordanelle area and they need workforce housing? And that would probably work out really well up there in Jordanelle. How does that work out on the east side of the county when everybody's lots are 1 acre? And then Heber Cities doesn't appear to be doing anything with affordable housing or Midway. So just something to throw out there. When we do have that discussion and we talk about how the towns and cities in our county would also participate with affordable housing to do that.
Maybe we ought to have the Affordable Housing Board make a presentation and give us an idea of what some of the other municipalities are doing. You know, Heber City did buy some lots.
They have done.
Out in Miller Park. And they did buy some ground with the self-help homes. And Midway's looking at,
Did they buy with the funds that they generated or funds that came from the county?
I think it was a condition of development, wasn't it, Rick?
In the county or the city?
In the
In
City.
the city itself, okay. Good. Because that's what I'm about. If the county's the only one doing it, putting the money in, then we gotta have buy-in from the city. We don't wanna have, we wanna have everybody working together. There's obviously a need, but it's probably gonna be in the city, so we gotta, I agree with you.
Maybe we can put that together and have them come do a presentation, maybe have the mayors come from towns and cities.
That would be a good subject to approach on the interlocal and talk about it. Ron?
Yeah, just waiting for the right time. I've been detailed as the liaison to invite you if you're interested. We have the interlocal meeting, I believe at 7 on the 17th. When is the interlocal? I left my,
I think it's the 13th.
I came straight here, left my materials at home.
The interlocal.
It's the 13th.
The 13th.
At 7. So we talked about, would the county be interested in having a county-city joint discussion for an hour or so prior to that meeting on the 13th to talk about the annexation policy and maybe the affordable housing.
That would be hard for the county because we have fire district in Park and Rec that night.
Until, just up until, huh? Well, we at least
But
some
we'd
of
have to
us
say after.
We
especially
definitely
want
need to have a joint discussion.
we want to get with the county, and if you got another good suggested time, we just thought, well, we were all going to be there, maybe that would work out. But if you could get back to me,
Okay.
let me be the liaison,
After that meeting on the 7th,
that'd be okay, I
Maybe
think.
we could do it either during or after that same meeting.
That would, should I communicate that? We
Let's just do
be
that.
willing-
now we're scheduled for February 13th, right?
Let's just do it the 13th after the interlocal then. And that's my role, the mayor's, we've kind of added this into council assignments. And so I'm the liaison back and forth, anything I can help the county with the city and things we feel like we need to bring to you. I was taken back a little about the comment about we weren't doing anything on affordable housing. I think we've been trying and we want to do more. I was appointed on the Affordable Housing Committee, so you'll see some noise from me at least on there.
Do you have a policy? Housing policy?
No, we've had a lot of discussion. We've
Okay.
talked about.
I think that's what he meant. I
Well,
don't think he was trying to be disrespectful.
You had one and took it off and now you put it back. When you took it off, we took it off and we're talking about putting it back as far as
I guess the
developers.
reason we took it off is because no one else was doing it. No one
Well,
else seemed to want it at the time. There's
whatever.
no sense in arguing who's
Yeah.
doing this, but let's get together.
We
and
don't
discuss
care
it.
where they can live cheap, we just want them to have a place to
Well, I
live.
think by law, we both the
Have to
county
have a
and the
policy.
cities is required to have a policy.
And I don't know what communication the county's received. Tim Quinn met with our city council a meeting ago, and the state legislature right now is discussing that the Salt Lake folks want to assess counties and cities. We've been told our number could be $70,000 because they're taking care of the homeless, you know, and the affordable. Well, I don't know how many go
I
from
had
here
the
to
same
there.
discussion with him, but we haven't seen anything yet.
Well, but it's
It's being
happening
discussed, for sure.
now, and so as I look at it, at least from what he said and we've talked about, the more we do, the quicker we do it here. If not, they'll help us, have them help do theirs. So let's,
We may have to do both.
yeah. So those could be the two topics, if that's okay, the annexation policy and affordable housing, county, city, after the interlocal. Are we all together on that?
That sounds good. And just comment, Councilman Crittenden, and I apologize for the way I presented it.
That's okay,
I mainly wanted to make sure we just all got on the same page.
let's do that. Let's talk about it on the 13th.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Other than that, we will not have a manager's report. We'll come back to our last item, which is our council or board reports. Mr. Park. Mr. Peterson.
Yeah, Children's Justice Center, met with them today. It's quite an organization. They're very well organized and they have provided great service. So met today. They had several of them attended the San Diego International Conference down in San Diego and brought back a lot of valuable information that's helping the organization. They're looking for a Hispanic representative for the board that can sit on the board with us. And so if there's any thought, anybody know of anybody that might be able to represent the Hispanic community, we're looking for a member of the board for that. And then Don's not here, right? They're struggling with their sound from time to time when they do their interviews. I think Don's been there working on that, so I just want to get that double checked to make sure that the interviews are being recorded where everybody has a quality copy of that. Need it. And then the carpet, we want to be able to finish replacing the carpet in the basement that got wet. So I think Mike's been working on that. Other than that, I think that's about it. They're doing a great job. So
Thank
that's all I have.
Last Wednesday night, we had a regional water meeting. The SSA #1 sponsored the regional water meeting to see if there's any interest in running the water providers to do a regional plan. And we had, I think 45 people showed up. It was well received. The decision was to go ahead and put a steering committee together and start working on a scope of work and a request for proposal to be sent out to an engineering company to get us an idea how much that would cost us. And I think that's the direction we'll go on. The Wasatch Open Lands Board had the meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago. We would like to move forward on this as fast as possible. We would like to be able to work with on the March work meeting. We'd like to be able to sit down and work with the council and get their feedback on what our proposals are. And then on March,
So we'll want that on the agenda for the work meeting.
yes. Then on our next meeting in March,
21st.
we would like to have an agenda item in there and have a vote on whether we want to go ahead and put it on the ballot or not for a bond. We don't know if we'll have the exact figures or anything.
Do you want, you said, is that,
And
You want that?
the problem is, that's the 21st, and a number of us will be at the water conference in St. George. I would like to request that we move that meeting to the 28th and not have a meeting on the 21st.
I did, does anybody have a conflict if we move our March 2nd official meeting and not the work meeting, but our second regular meeting from the 21st to the 28th?
Have Peter Latin Power Board meeting.
Well, you didn't make it tonight either when we got by. You'll have to cover for me while I'm gone for work, so I'm just giving you the business, so.
That's the only, I don't know.
What time does that mean?
3, so I get the first part of that.
Okay.
We start at 4.
If that's the only conflict, then I think we'll probably have less conflict on the 28th.
No, that works. It's the week before spring break.
I think we'll probably have less conflict because a couple of us will probably be gone that 21st anyway, so we're probably even as it is. So we'll move that.
I've got a presentation that's going to be given in St. George on the 21st. So
Michelle, can we change that? We'll need to notice that as a regular meeting on the cancel the 21st and on the 28th. And I'll get with you on the agenda items for the open lands.
Okay with that, Doug?
Yeah, I was just gonna, as
Oh,
long as we're moving it back, we're okay, we can still keep noticing.
Because we get the planning commission items that need to have a public hearing. I figured since we weren't moving it ahead, it didn't
you don't have, there's not a lot on the planning commission that's real pushing.
There's not?
I guess you got your answer there.
Yeah. Well, there's no big differences in individual lots.
We'll get a number of items submitted the 27th of this month that we want to be doing in March.
Oh, yeah, because we're still,
Oh, March,
you're still a
okay.
month away.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so on March, we'll cancel our 21st meeting and move that meeting to the 28th.
I was looking at the agenda for this month.
For this month.
Yeah, I know, March would be.
Yeah, okay, I was wrong.
All right.
Okay, then we had the public lands meeting this morning. The big concern is snowmobilers trying to snowmobile and they can't access the snow. We have a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of problem over in the Snake Creek, Pine Creek area. People tearing the gates out,
Same in the Lake Creek area.
trying to go up in that area. And we don't have any, we get them up the road, we can't turn them around, we can't park them. Probably the safest thing to do is just leave the gates up until